Hey guys, this is Max with Priority Bicycles. Today I want to run you through my new bike packing setup on the Priority 600 HXT. So let's get into it. So in the past, I used to go bike packing on a drop bar gravel bike, which was awesome. It was a little bit quicker, it's a little bit more nimble. I come from bike racing. This year I found that I had a long season of racing, my body's a little bit tired, and I really don't want to be underbiked. I want a bike that can handle anything I'm going to throw at it. So I planned this upcoming overnight trip. I'm going to be taking the train from here in New York City up to Poughkeepsie, New York, in upstate. I'm going to go north through Woodstock, and I'm going to climb this mountain, Overlook Mountain, and then camp at Echo Lake just on the other side. It's going to be beautiful. But it's going to be a pretty gnarly mountain bike climb. So when I was thinking about the bike that I wanted, I really needed a do-it-all, ready for anything, preferably a bike with a suspension and some wider tires. So Priority Bicycles. We have an ever-growing adventure lineup of bikes. We have the 600 ADX, we have the 600 HXT, we have the Gemini, we have a lot of bikes to choose from. So why did I go with the HXT over, let's say, the 600 ADX? Well, for me, I really enjoy the Smart Shift. I went out and tested it, and it's just so responsive for me, and I really wanted that no worry kind of ease of shifting that was really important to me. But also, the geometry of this bike is made a little bit more for ripping and getting into it. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be climbing up a mountain, which also means I'm going to go down the other side of the mountain. So when I'm ripping downhill, having that longer wheelbase, that more trail-ready bike is just going to be a lot more fun, nimble, and safe for me to ride. So talking about the 600 HXT, this bike is largely stock, but one of the things I did opt to change out for this trip were the tires. These are Continental Race Kings. So this is like a cross-country tire. It has a really fast rolling resistance to it. It's just going to go a little bit quicker on the pavement, and there is a decent amount of this trip that is on pavement. It still has tread that's going to be good for off-road, but I don't plan on doing intense downhill mountain bike riding through the loosest stuff you can imagine. So a little bit quicker of a tire is going to benefit me on this trip. So moving to a new style of bike allowed me to kind of rethink what I wanted to prioritize on this trip and how I wanted to approach my packing. So this time I went with racks and bags from Aero. So up here on the front of the bike, we have the Aero Spider handlebar mount with the dry bag. And then on the rear, we have the Aero Spider rear rack, also with the cradle for the bag. I'm really happy with this setup. It is going to be new to me, so we're going to find out how it does in the field, but it feels really sturdy. I love that it gives clearance for the dropper post, so I can still drop it down if I need to. I would love to say I'm going to shred downhill, but probably just for stopping at a traffic light and getting off a little bit easier. And I love that this cradle on the front here keeps the bag off of my hoses and wires. This bike is a size small. So you'll notice there's not a ton of room in this triangle. So I had to really think about how I wanted to bring my water and my general hydration plan. So I can fit a normal sized water bottle in here. And then down here, I have a 40-ounce clean canteen held on. These bottle cages are from King Cage. They're titanium. They're totally awesome. And then for the final part of the trip, right before I have to go up the mountain, I wanted the option for a little bit more water to have at the campsite. Up here in the 174 Hudson feedback, I got a bunch of gels, I got my little electrolyte mix, but really the MVP of this trip is going to be this collapsible 3-liter water storage. It just basically turns into a water bottle, and it's from Hydro Pack. So I'll be able to fill this with water and then use this as a third bottle cage. So when I show up to camp, I'm going to have plenty of water with me. For my top tube bag, I went with the 174 Hudson top tube bag, of course. It's got plenty of storage space, it direct mounts to the top tube of the bicycle, and it's got ample room for things like cell phone, a power bank, my keys, things that I need to grab quickly on the go. For my bike computer, up here mounted on my handlebars, I have my trusty Garmin Edge 530. I love this thing. It's come on so many trips with me. The battery life is absolutely incredible. The navigation is awesome. So Garmin Edge 530 gets an absolute win from me, and it'll be on my handlebars the whole trip. during these long trips, especially since I'll be solo, I want to make sure I'm seen by motorists on the road. So attached to my Aero Spider rear rack, I do have a priority rear light that I'll be running all day long. Now let's check out what's in my dry bags. Let's get into my bar bag first. These Aero bags are a little bit bigger than what I'm used to running, which is awesome. I'm able to fit my entire sleep system and pretty much my whole camping setup on my bars. Cool. So first up, we have my sleeping pad and pillow system. The sleeping pad is the Thermarest Neo Air. This thing is super light, super dependable. I'm gonna be honest, it's a touch loud to sleep on. It sort of sounds like sleeping on a Doritos bag, but it's so light and so dependable, I wouldn't trade it for anything else. Tucked inside my sleeping pad, I do have my Sea to Summit pillow. This is something I added to my sleep system later. I don't know why I didn't add it sooner. It's so tiny, it weighs nothing, and it just adds a ton of comfort to your night's sleep in the woods. Next up, we have a bag of just some general camping items that I need. Let's go through this real quick. I have my trusty headlamp. This is used all evening long. I have a multi-tool here. This is great for if I need to prep some wood for a fire or if I need to do a quick repair. And then super important, I have some paracord here. This I'll use for my bear bag. I actually use my bar bag as the bear bag typically. I'll just hook this paracord into the bag and then hang it from a tree. Next up, we're gonna get into my tent. So my tent is the Nemo Dragonfly 2, which you can check out the review. I'll make Ben put it in the description below. Thanks, Ben. The Nemo Dragonfly 2 is awesome, and it comes in its own pack. I actually took it out of the pack to be able to fit more in this bar bag, so we're gonna take it out piece by piece now. Here we have the landing zone of the tent. This is sort of a dry area in the vestibule where you can put your helmet, shoes, things you don't want inside your tent at night, but you also don't want them to get wet. Next, we have the fly for the tent. Coming out next is the tent itself. We have the tent poles, which are super small and light on this. That's what allows me to keep my pack size so small. And finally, we have the tent stakes. So there's my tent. It might look a little bit bigger on this table, but all this compresses so much, which is what allows me to fit so much inside of this bar bag. And last but not least, the thing that I always put in first and just stuff in there, my trusty sleeping bag. It's nothing special, but it keeps me warm at night. So my entire sleep system and camping system in my bar bag, pretty awesome. Let's see what I keep on the back of the bike. To start off, I have a collapsible backpack. Sometimes right before I get to my campsite, if I want to grab some beers or some extra food, I'll take this out, put it in the backpack, put it on my back, and ride just the final mile to camp. It's a really handy item to have. Next up, we have my titanium mug. Nothing makes me feel more home at a campsite than a warm drink in my awesome camping mug. Next up is possibly the unsung hero of the trip if you get into some misfortune. A rubber glove. I highly recommend bringing one with you if you gash a sidewall in your tubeless setup and you're dealing with nasty sealant on the side of the road. You're gonna be so happy you have this. Can't recommend it enough. Here we have my cooking setup. Let's go through it. We have the spork. This is my stove, super tiny, love this thing. We have my gas canister to go with it. This is my coffee system. These parts hook to the top of your mug. You can put some ground coffee in the top and then just do a pour over. And of course, we have a pot. My favorite camping meal is just a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup. I have the specific memory of being on this super long bikepacking trip, and I found this gas station on the side of the road, and I was starving, and they had chicken noodle soup, and it was the only thing in there that I could just make with my camping stove setup, and it was one of those moments where it became the greatest meal of my life, so I always love to have a Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Since I'm just doing an overnighter, I don't have a ton of clothes with me, but I am bringing some long johns to keep me warm at night or around the campsite, and some long finger gloves in case I get a little cool in the tent. This is my water filtration system, the Sawyer Squeeze. It's been really great to me. Normally I wouldn't bring water filtration for an overnight, but since I'm camping right next to a lake, if I run out of water, it'll just give me some peace of mind to know that I can filter some at the campsite. Now, I'm running my 600 HXT tubeless. I like the puncture protection. I also like being able to run lower pressures in my tires for better grip. That said, we want to make sure we're prepared for any situation. So I do have a TPU tube with me. If you want to learn more about these tubes in particular, we did a video on with our mechanic Jake, and I'll make Ben link that too. Ben, do it. Next, we have some general hygiene items. We got some biodegradable wilderness wipes. I have this awesome little tiny towel from REI, which I love. Of course, we have toothbrush and toothpaste. It's important to note I will not be bringing this particular toothpaste with me. You always want to bring something environmentally friendly. And then sunblock, because I'm a ginger. This bag holds a lot, so stick with me. I hope you're not getting too tired. Next, we have our more emergency items or repair items. Always bring a zip tie. Zip ties are clutch. They will get you out of so many situations. If you break a spoke, anything like that, you'll be able to tie it up. Bring zip ties, trust me. I have this mini pump, which is also a CO2 disperser. Of course, we have a canister of CO2 for that. We have a lighter, tire plugs, glue patches, vulcanizing patch kit, tire levers, a set of Allen keys. And then this is a multi-tool as well as a bottle opener in the middle. To some people that might seem excessive, to some people it might not seem like enough. My goal is to be able to get out of any situation I find myself in. Camp meals, dehydrated camp meals. Some people love them, some people hate them. They make me feel like I'm at camp, and more importantly, they give me the calories I need to get going the next day. Last but not least, we have a jacket to keep me nice and warm at night. In case I stay up a little late, it is gonna be cool there on top of the mountain. So that's everything I plan to bring on this bike packing trip with me. We're gonna get everything packed back up, put it back on the bike, and then I'm doing the overnighter this weekend. I'll keep you guys posted on how it goes.